And Batista has his hands full here at No Mercy, defending his world championship against Eddie Guerrero, who has been on top for quite some time. Eddie Guerrero, the veteran of the match, has a lot more experience inside the squared circle than Batista, and that might come to favor Eddie Guerrero. These two former teammates. Batista, the more powerful of the two. But like I said, Eddie's the veteran, and Eddie has his ways to finding victory. Batista, who won the title back at WrestleMania in April, has had quite the year here in 2000, has had quite the 2005. And now might be having his hands full with Guerrero, who got a double leg, but Batista using the power of his legs to kick Eddie Guerrero all the way back across the ring. SmackDown, and WWE fans fired up for this SmackDown World Heavyweight title match. These two are the very best that the blue brand has to offer. Feeling each other out. Oh, Fireman's carry there. But Batista once again. Batista got caught for a split second, but he knows Eddie Guerrero can turn things around very quick. Eddie Guerrero doesn't care about your size. I'll take you off your feet. And oh, now here comes a test of power as Batista out-muscling Guerrero right now. It almost seems like Guerrero's pleading, begging for mercy, as Batista putting all of his muscle into the wrist of Guerrero. And now Eddie heading up to the second rope. And Batista now with these shots to the midsection. Boom! What a slam by the champion. And Batista doing a little bit of showboating. And Guerrero rolls to the outside onto the floor. Gonna take some time to regroup, come up with a game plan. It is not easy to stand across the ring from somebody like the Animal Batista. The sheer size of him. 6'5", 290. And it was Ric Flair and Triple H who molded the superstar that Batista has become today. Two of the very best in the business molded this animal. And ironically, as I mentioned, how Batista won the title at WrestleMania earlier this year, well, he actually defeated Triple H, realizing that Triple H and Ric Flair were talking bad behind Batista's back, which wasn't so wise considering Batista had the power to pick who he was going to challenge at WrestleMania, whether it was for the world title or the WWE title after winning the 2005 Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, Batista, who already knows what it's like to conquer his mentors, now looking to conquer another veteran of the game. And that is Eddie Guerrero. Someone who, without a doubt, one of the very best, knowing his way inside and out of the squared circle all around. Oh, and the rope break being forced, and Eddie now with the cheap shot. Eddie Guerrero bringing that intensity. Despite the size advantage from Batista, Eddie Guerrero always going to find a way to bring intensity And that intensity, Batista tried to relay that forward towards Guerrero in the corner. But Guerrero was able to get out of harm's way just before, and Batista, all he met were those turnbuckles. And there is very little give to the light padding in those turnbuckles. Meanwhile, Batista right back on this side headlock on Eddie Guerrero. Sometimes you just got to keep things simple to break down your opponent. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complex. Meanwhile, Guerrero trying to use his strength to break free of the vice-like grip of the animal. And right back to the side headlock as Guerrero tried to break free. But Batista's just too powerful. Eddie Guerrero's going to have to come up with some sort of game plan if he's going to win the world title. And Batista keeping a tight hold. You keep your opponent in close quarters. That's what you have to do, especially it's like a David versus Goliath situation in a sense. But not quite. But Eddie does have that quickness over Batista. Batista has the size. And Eddie just running into Batista, it's like running into a brick wall. And a 2 count. Eddie, once again, rolling out of the ring, trying to figure out this game plan. I keep mentioning the game plan, but Eddie, perhaps a steel chair might come in handy. He won't be able to win the world title this way. And the old Eddie coming out. Sometimes by any means necessary. And he just throws the chair down. Meanwhile, the animal waiting for Guerrero has that tight grip around the throat. And now Batista has been made mad. And Batista saying, "I thought you're my friend." Oh, and a head ringer. Batista's head bouncing off the top rope. And now Guerrero heads up to the top. And a frog splash connects Eddie to win the world title. But Batista able to kick out at 2. You hit your biggest shot. And your biggest shot's only enough for a 2. Where do you go next? And now on going after the lower spine of Batista is Guerrero. Guerrero extremely technically sound inside the squared circle. And Guerrero, let's look at what turned things around. Eddie Guerrero was able to find himself a bit of an opening, almost making Batista believe that he was going to go and revert back to his old ways with using a steel chair. But instead, it was allowing him a distraction. And now getting the legs wrapped around Batista is Guerrero. You keep the legs wrapped around the midsection. You're cutting off the airway. You're cutting off that. It's making it heavier and heavier for Batista to breathe as the lungs are experiencing all that pressure of Guerrero's tight grip from his legs. Perhaps trying to bring the shoulders down for a cover, for a pinfall combination. Shoulders were down. And a 2 count. The best thing for Eddie is to do everything he can to keep these legs, the scissors on. Eddie knows what it's like to be at the top of the mountain. He's done it before. He's been the WWE champion. He'd love to be the world champion. But with that being said, no easy task. Batista using his strength to lift up Eddie Guerrero, who is on his back. And Batista powering out as he sends Guerrero into the corner. But Guerrero just explodes out of the corner with a drop kick to the lower back that Eddie Guerrero has been working on the last couple minutes. And now Guerrero going to go after the leg, a single leg crab on the animal. This is going to continue to do damage to that lower back. The way it extends the leg and your lower back starts to hurt. It makes it hard for you to move. Eddie Guerrero with the submission maneuver may force the champion to tap out, but Batista able to make it to the bottom rope. And Guerrero getting a good couple extra seconds out of that 5 count. Doesn't want to be disqualified, but with the ref now checking on the animal, loosening the turnbuckle, Eddie's got a tag rope. It seems that once upon a time, Eddie was new and improved. Oh, maybe he is new and improved, but he keeps having second guesses. It's almost like he's just thinking about what can I do to win, but forgetting I'm not that person anymore. And now Eddie, again, finding another submission on Batista. Look at that drop kick from Guerrero. And now once again, the legs wrapped around the midsection of Batista and has a rear naked choke. With the body scissors around Batista, it continues to wear down the animal. And as this match continues, it starts to favor Eddie Guerrero. All that mass that Batista carries, all that muscle, the long haul, it becomes more difficult. Your body starts to short circuit a bit, especially when your lungs are being targeted like this, when your midsection is being closed off in this way. Batista trying to break free of the body scissors, and he does. And Batista again trying to show his test of strength. And now Batista with a submission of his own as a bear hug. And the double 3 time with that cymbal clap. What a shot to the face of the animal. Only infuriating the world champion. And Batista got kicked right in the shin. And Eddie Guerrero using Batista's anger against him. That anger was clouding the mind of Batista and allowed Eddie Guerrero to capitalize. Perhaps looking for a clover leaf here. Looking for that Texas clover leaf. I don't know if the champion will be able to get out of this one. Can he roll Batista over? Will it be enough? And, oh, but wait. But Batista counters for a cover. Oh, and Guerrero able to kick out at 2. You don't see that too often. Batista countering that attempt at a submission into a pinfall, into a roll-up. Eddie Guerrero was looking for that Texas cloverleaf, only to be countered by Batista. Oh, what a shot to the lower back by Guerrero, that forearm. And now Guerrero sending the world champion into the corner. What a shot to the chest of Batista. It's Guerrero with another shot. Guerrero trying to wear down the champion, trying to favor this match. And trying to counter is Batista. And he, up and over is Guerrero. But Guerrero backed down and backed out when he jumped up and over, but took out the referee in the process. Planting Batista with a DDT. With the official Nick Patrick down and out. Guerrero now realizing the moment of truth. Are we going to see a new and improved version of Eddie Guerrero? Or are we going to see the Eddie Guerrero we always knew he was? Is the Eddie of old going to betray his friend? You had to know this was possible. And Eddie with a steel chair. And Eddie again having second thoughts. Eddie. And Eddie just can't get himself to do it. Eddie having this evil and good conscience. It's like an angel and a devil on his left and right shoulder telling him to do it and not to do it, do it, not to do it. And Batista just spotted Eddie was contemplating on hitting him with that steel chair, betraying the trust. This was never about hatred between these two. This is all about the World Championship. Nothing personal, all business. As Batista driving Guerrero into the corner. But now it's become personal for the animal, who feels disrespected that Guerrero would even think about hitting him with a steel chair. And now Batista's found some new power. And the champion is all fired up. And a spear. And the animal's all fired up here at No Mercy. And it could be time for a Batista bomb to close this one out. Guerrero up and over. Try to roll through that lower back of Batista. But Batista able to keep himself up. Spine buster. But unfortunately for Batista, unable to capitalize due to the lower damage done to his back by Guerrero throughout this match. And Batista, can he make it to Guerrero crawling to get the cover? And now pulls the leg back slightly, the best he can. But Guerrero able to kick out just before the 3. Batista unable to get all of that pinfall. It seemed that Batista was trying to elbow the knee, but Eddie Guerrero got the knees up. And now Guerrero back up to his feet. Eddie with that little bit of cockiness. A little bit of a shimmy there from Guerrero. And there's one. Here comes the 3 amigos from Guerrero. And one more. And the third of the 3 amigos. And Eddie Guerrero, can he capitalize on this? Can Eddie Guerrero do it? Can he call himself the world champion? All he's got to do is make the climb, connect with the frog splash, and go for the cover. No, with nobody home. Batista with a spine buster. And now here's the cover. And Batista retains the world championship. What a match between these two. So much conflict just with Eddie Guerrero's own consciousness in and of itself, trying to figure out whether to be the good guy or the bad guy, whether or not I should go back to my evil ways or do this match honorably with someone I still consider a friend. This was the point Eddie Guerrero thought he had it, but then Batista would counter with a spine buster, and that would be all over for Guerrero 1, 2, and 3. Batista would retain the world championship. Perhaps if Guerrero had gone back to his old ways, he might have been the one that had his hand raised by Neil Patrick, the referee, and would be world champion. But that is neither here nor there. But Eddie did stay true to his word. He would not revert to evil ways. Batista now lifting up Guerrero. Batista, of course, not happy that Guerrero even contemplated hitting Batista with a steel chair. Nonetheless, Batista lifted up Guerrero just to remind him that he is the world heavyweight champion as these two eye each other down. Batista's got that look. Eddie, not happy. Thought he had it. It's a tough loss for Guerrero. But there's got to be some sort of respect between these two. As Guerrero extends the hand. I don't know if I'd fall for this if I'm Batista. Eddie's been full of tricks in the past. And Eddie, realizing he got beat by the better man, gives a sign of approval. I would never turn my back on Eddie Guerrero and Batista. I don't know how wise it was, but nonetheless, Eddie staying true to the changed man he is becoming. As Guerrero leaves, Batista retains the World Heavyweight Championship.